Here's the question I get after families watch my downsizing roadmap video. Okay, Weldon, we understand the timeline and the family conversation, but what about the actual numbers? When do we sell? Where should we move? And how do we avoid making expensive mistakes? That's what this video is all about. Now, I'm a certified financial coach and a project management professional, and I've walked dozens of families through this exact decision process. Downsizing and the transition with it is not easy, and here's what I've learned. Most people lose tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes more, because they get the order wrong. They talk to a realtor before they talk to their CPA. They list the house before updating their estate plan. They buy the new place before selling the old one. This video gives you the complete strategy, the wealth optimization steps that you need to take, the real cost comparisons you need to run, and the real estate execution that avoids double mortgages and costly timing mistakes. We're going to walk through all three phases of my framework. We're going to talk about the life goal, the wealth optimization opportunities, and then the real estate. And we're going to use actual numbers that you need to know. Let's start with why most people get the order wrong. And this is point one. Before we talk about money or houses themselves, you need to know which of the 12 Ds of life transition is driving this decision. If you watched the roadmap video, you heard me explain this framework, and here's why it matters for the financial strategy. If you have a dreams-driven downsizing, you have flexibility. You can optimize for tax savings and then take 18 months to execute perfectly. But if you have that death-driven downsizing, you're navigating grief and finances, and you need emotional space built into the timeline, which means different tax strategy. And if you have a difficulties-driven downsizing, health or financial constraints, and that's what's forcing this move, you might need to prioritize liquidity over optimization. The financial strategy that changes based on which D that you're navigating. Because most families, they skip this step and they jump straight to what your house is worth. That is backwards thinking. Your transition type, that's what determines your timeline. Your timeline then determines your tax strategy. Your tax strategy determines when and how you sell. So before you do anything else, write down which D is driving this decision. And that clarity is going to save you thousands, maybe tens of thousands in avoidable mistakes. And here's point two. Here's the mistake that costs families the most money. They call a realtor first. I get it. Downsizing feels like a real estate decision, so you call a real estate professional. It makes sense, right? It doesn't when you truly break it down. Downsizing is a wealth optimization decision that ends with real estate execution, but it doesn't start there. Here's what happens when you call a realtor first. They're going to list your house, you sell it, the proceeds go into your checking account, and then you discover you could have saved $30,000 in taxes if you talked to your CPA first. You could have avoided probate fees if you'd updated your trust first. You could have prevented Medicare premium surcharges if you'd structured the sale differently. But now it's too late. The house is sold, the taxes are owed, and you're paying penalties you didn't have to pay. This is why the order matters. CPA first, attorney second. Make sure your CFP knows what's going on, and then your realtor last. You optimize for wealth before you execute on the real estate, always. And then point three, here's the complete framework that I use with every family. Phase one, life. Identify your transition. Have the family conversation. Get siblings aligned. Map your timeline. This is going to reduce the hurdles and prevent family conflict. Phase two, that's wealth. You coordinate with your CPA, your attorney, your CFP. You optimize the taxes. You update your estate planning. Run cost comparisons and structure the sale for maximum financial benefit. This is what protects your wealth and minimizes your taxes, keeps more money in your pocket. And then phase three, that's the real estate. Execute the sale and the purchase with coordinated timing, proper staging, and clear communication. This gets you from where you are to where you're going without doubling housing costs or unnecessary stress. Most people skip phase one and phase two and jump straight to phase three and try and figure it out along the way. Then they wonder why they lost $50,000 in avoidable taxes and fees. The rest of this video, it focuses on phase two, the wealth optimization, and phase three, the real estate execution. But never forget, all of this rests on phase one being done correctly first. So point four, the capital gains exclusion is the single most important tax rule for downsizing, and most people don't understand it. Here's an example. You bought your house 40 years ago for $60,000. It's now worth $500,000. You've got $440,000 in capital gains, but the exclusion covers up to $500,000 for a married couple or a couple filing jointly. You owe zero federal capital gains tax. That saves you $60,000 compared to paying the 15 to 20% capital gains rate. But here's the catch. You have to have lived in the house as your primary residence for 2 of the last 5 years to qualify for that. If you move out, rent it to tenants, and then sell it 3 years later, you just lost the exclusion. Now you owe $66,000 in taxes you didn't have to pay. This is why you talk to your CPA before you list. They'll tell you whether you qualify, whether you should wait, or whether you need to structure the sale differently. Here's point 5. Update your estate planning documents before you list the house, or risk losing $30,000 to $50,000 in probate should something happen to you. Here's the mistake that I see constantly. Someone sells their house for $500,000. The proceeds sit in their checking account while they're looking for the new place. Then something happens unexpectedly. They pass away. Now that $500,000 is stuck in probate because the house was titled jointly, but the bank account wasn't structured properly. It was an unnecessary risk, but we take it unknowingly. The kids, they wait the 6 to 12 months to get through probate and for that to clear, and they pay the attorney fees. They lose the investment returns during that waiting period as well. So the total cost, $30,000 to $50,000 in lost wealth, lost opportunity. If instead you'd updated your trust, retitled the bank account, and coordinated with your attorney beforehand, before listing that house, that $500,000 would pass directly to your beneficiaries. No probate, no delays, no fees. Sit down with your attorney 9 to 12 months before you plan to list. Review your trust, your will, your power of attorney, your beneficiary designations. Review it all. Estate planning before real estate is always a good idea. Now, point 6, when your CPA and your attorney coordinate before you sell, and again, I include your CFP in there too, you unlock strategies most families never know exist. Let me give you a real life example of this. I worked with a family, and let's just call them Gary and Linda, who they were downsizing, okay, from a 5-bedroom house they'd owned for 35 years. Their plan was to sell the house for $500,000, buy a 2-bedroom condo for $300,000, invest the remaining $200,000, and it sounds like a good idea. But I said, before you list, let's get with your CPA and attorney and get them in the room together. That meeting revealed 3 strategies. 1, instead of buying the condo outright, they took out a small mortgage and used the mortgage interest to deduct and offset the investment gains on the $200,000 that they didn't spend on a house. 2, Linda's attorney, they structured part of the proceeds into an irrevocable trust for their grandkids' education, so it grew tax-free, avoiding estate tax later. And then number 3, their CPA timed the sale to avoid triggering Medicare premium surcharges. In a year, Linda had other income. Total tax savings from that one coordination meeting, $52,000. That's not a typo. Over $50,000 saved because their CPA and attorney talked before they listed the house. Most families never set that up, and it's lost opportunity. Don't be most families. Point 7, selling your house, that can trigger the Medicare premium surcharges 2 years later, and most people have no idea until the bills arrive. And here's how it works. Medicare uses your modified adjusted gross income from 2 years ago to determine your Part B and Part D premiums through a system called IRMA, Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. If you sell a house with significant capital gains, even if it's excluded from federal taxes, it can still push your modified adjusted gross income over IRMA thresholds. And another example here. You're a married couple with typical retirement income of 80,000 a year. You sell your house, and even with the capital gains exclusion, your one-time income spikes to $200,000. 2 years later, your Medicare premiums jump from $349 per month to $594 per month per person. Man, that's a lot. That's an extra $5,880 per year in Medicare premiums for 2 years. Total cost, nearly $12,000. Your CPA, they can help you structure the sale, time it strategically, or use other techniques to minimize this spike, but only if you talk to them before you list. And here's point 8. Stop comparing monthly rent to your current house payment. That's the wrong math. And here's what I mean. Most people say, my house is paid off. I pay $1,300 a month in taxes, insurance, and maintenance. An apartment, that's going to cost $1,200 a month in rent. I'm saving $100 a month. That sounds incredible. No, you're not, because you're ignoring the opportunity cost. You sell the house for $500,000. If you invest at a conservative 5% annual return, you're earning $25,000 a year, and that's around $2,083 per month in growth. So your real net cost for that $1,200 apartment isn't $1,200. It's actually negative $883. You're making money every month because you invested proceeds that are growing faster than your rent cost. And this is the analysis that your CPA should help you run. Total cost of ownership plus opportunity cost of invested proceeds. Don't just look at the monthly payment, look at the complete financial picture. That's how you make a strategic decision instead of an emotional one. Now, here's a quick sidebar. If you are working through these numbers and you want a second set of eyes on your specific situation, book a free 30-minute transition strategy call. We will map out your wealth optimization strategy with your CPA and your attorney before we ever even talk about listing your house. The link, it's in the description below. Now, let's talk about real estate execution in this next phase. So, point 9, the best time to sell is when you've completed phase 1 and phase 2, not before. Here are the timing signals that mean you're actually ready. Your family is aligned. Your CPA has reviewed your tax strategy. Your attorney has updated your estate documents. You've run the cost comparisons and know your numbers. You've identified where you want to move. And if all 5 of those things are true, you're ready to list. If even one of those isn't true, you're moving too fast. And if you can help it, don't do that. Remember the 12 to 18-month optimal timeline and window from the roadmap video? That window exists so you can complete phase 1 and phase 2 properly before phase 3 execution. I worked with a family who tried to compress that into 3 months because the market is good right now. They sold fast, then discovered they'd triggered the Medicare IRMA trap. No one likes that. They had not updated their trust, and they bought the new place for $30,000 more than they needed to pay because they were rushed. My advice is to slow down. Do it right. The money you save by proper planning, it's going to exceed any good market timing gains. Point 10. New location based on complexity reduction, not financial equivalence. Most people try to find a place that gives them the same square footage and amenities as their current house. That, in my opinion, is the wrong goal. The goal of downsizing is reducing complexity in your life, trading that square footage for simplicity, maintenance freedom, isolation for community. That community means so much. Ask these questions if you're considering this move, right? And where you want to go. Does this location reduce my daily complexity? Am I closer to medical care? Am I closer to family? Do I have community here? People I can see regularly without extensive planning. I worked with a widow last year who moved from a 4-bedroom suburban house to a 2-bedroom downtown condo. Everyone told her that she was losing value because the condo costs more per square foot, but she gained simplicity, walkable restaurants, doctors, friends, no yard maintenance, no repair worries. Her quality of life improved dramatically. That's the right metric: complexity reduction. Now, here's point 11. Decide between an apartment, condo, senior living, and you could even throw adult children in there if you really want to. But be realistic on what your 5-year health trajectory is and what your current finances support. If you're healthy and independent now and you expect to be for the next 10 to 15 years, a condo or an apartment or townhome, that may make sense. But if your health is declining or you're anticipating needing help within 5 years, seriously consider senior living communities that offer independent living now and then assisted living later. And here's why I say that. When you move twice, it's brutal. If you move into an apartment now and then need assisted living in 3 years, you're packing those boxes again. You're coordinating movers again. You're sorting belongings again. You're just doing double the work. To me, it's better to move once to a continuing care community that grows with your needs. Talk to your doctor first, though. Be honest about your mobility and your health trajectory. Then match your housing type to your realistic 5-year timeline. And then here's point 12. Coordinate the timing of your sale and purchase to avoid double housing costs. Ideally, you're going to close on your new place the same week you close on your old house. You move once from the old house directly into the new place. And here's how we coordinate that. 6 months out, scout out locations that you're interested in and narrow it down to 3 options. Then 3 months out, list your current house. And when you get under contract, make an offer on a new place with a closing date that matches or is around your current house sale date. This is going to avoid 2 painful scenarios. One, selling your house with nowhere to go, so you're stuck in temporary housing for months. Or 2, buying the new place first and carrying 2 mortgages while your old house just sits on the market. I've seen families burn through $20,000 in double housing costs because they couldn't wait 3 months. My suggestion is to coordinate the closings. Move once, protect your cash flow. That's execution. Look, I know this is complex. You're coordinating CPAs, attorneys, estate planning, tax strategy, Medicare implications, timing, real estate timing, and then family dynamics of all things. This is exactly why I built this 3-phase framework, to give you a roadmap that ensures nothing falls through the cracks. When you book a transition strategy call, here's what happens. First, we identify which of the 12 Ds that you're navigating and which phase that you're actually in. So life, wealth, or real estate. Then second, we coordinate with your CPA, your attorney, the right professionals based on your situation. So that way we can optimize your wealth outcomes before we talk about listing your house. I don't replace your professionals. I coordinate with them. Third, we map out the real estate execution. And whether that's here in Colorado Springs, where I'm based out of, and you work with me directly, or anywhere else across the country through my nationwide referral network, I look for other values-aligned agents and professionals to connect you with based on your situation, someone that I know can serve you. It's a 30-minute phone call, and at the end, you're going to have a clear action plan for your next 3 steps. Go to askweldonhobbs.com to book a call with me, and I am happy to have the conversation. Because you're also going to see that I have a lot of other resources that I can provide to you as a transition strategist, things and perspectives to consider. My experiences and the way that I break problems down tend to help people out significantly. Again, based here in Colorado Springs, my wife Kristen and I, we both went to the Air Force Academy. We've spent our careers walking alongside other people through major life transitions, and we'd be honored to do it with you. If you've watched this entire downsizing series, my letter to baby boomers, my mom's letter, the strategic roadmap, the conversation guide, and now this financial strategy, you have everything you need to do this right. The only question left is, are you ready to start? If you are, I'm here to help. Hit subscribe for more transition strategy content. And if this series was valuable, share it with someone who needs it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.